Hello there. This video is a departure from what I normally put out on this channel. Although if you look at past videos, I generally just do whatever I want to anyway. But this video is a woodworking video. Specifically, it's part of a series on building an acoustic guitar. I have a second channel called Hand Tool Wood Guy. And I'm posting this video in the hopes that those of you who might enjoy woodworking, because I do other things besides guitar building, but I do a lot of guitar building there as well. That's a lot of times my main focus is guitar building or instrument building. And I'm hoping that some of you who enjoy that kind of thing would want to go over there and subscribe to that channel. It is active. I've been inactive for several months because, of course, most of you know I broke my hand. Okay, it is still in recovery. It's been 5 or 6 months, and I've been struggling with it, but I can use it and work with it, and so we're going to do that. So if you like this video and want to see more, then I invite you to go over to that channel, and I will do my best to put a link in the description box below. And go over there and subscribe, because if you like this kind of thing, you're going to love that channel. Hello, welcome back to the channel. It's been a while. I've been inactive. Most of you know I broke my hand. Okay, so been kind of inactive, but I'm back. This channel is going to move forward. And what we're doing today, if you remember, I had a cedar-topped maple guitar, acoustic guitar, that I was building when all of this happened, and I tried to bend the sides on it and busted the sides up. We're going to continue with that build with maple and cedar. I hopefully will be able to share with you this entire build. And so what we're doing now, well, first I want to talk about kind of how I build. This is a plan for the acoustic guitar that I am building. It is an orchestra model, or OM, which is a model that's characterized by a bit narrower of a waist than your standard dreadnought. It's a lot of people, if you look at like Yamaha, they have a folk guitar. It has this shape, the OM shape. A lot of finger stylists prefer the OM body, or even a triple O, which is an OM shape, but it's a thinner body. The first acoustic that I built was actually built roughly on this shape and roughly on these plans, but it was actually a triple O because the body was only about 4 inches deep. So we're going to go now, and we're going to work off of these plans. On that first guitar, I kind of just took this as a general guideline and sort of did what I felt, might work, or what I wanted to play around with, that kind of deal. But now what we're going to do, these are a set of OM plans that are well known on the internet. It's the Grelier, Grelier, I think is the name. But these are Grelier plans. People that build instruments know what I'm talking about. There have been thousands and thousands of OM guitars built with these plans. They've been on the internet for a long time. Grolier is the name of the guy that drew them out and built instruments uh, by them, and he put them online for people like me that wanted a plan but didn't want to pay $35 or more for a blueprint of the guitar. And there, like I said, there have been thousands of guitars built off of these plans. It builds a good guitar. In my first guitar, the dimensions of the bracing, I did not, the top bracing and the back bracing, the struts and structure of an acoustic guitar, I did not follow these plans. I used different sizing on the bracing because I had an idea in my head and I went with it. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to build as precisely as I can from these plans. And if I look at these plans, there are 9 braces on this guitar. And that's not counting the soundboard reinforcement bracing and things like that, which I'll make from offcasts of like probably the top. But anyway, they have different dimensions. I have 5 of them. 5 of them that are 16 millimeter high. I have 2 of them that are 13 millimeter high, and 2 of them that are 10 millimeter high. And the width varies. And so I'm going to cut these braces out. What this is, I'm going to cut this out of spruce. This is just a chunk of spruce, okay? But there's something you should understand about brace wood. It should be quarter sawn. What I mean by quarter sawn, do you see the growth rings in this wood? Well, if they're laid like that, this is what's known as flat sawn. If they were quarter sawn, the grain would run straight up and down like this. So what I've got to do is I've got to cut the height this way out of this brace wood so that I can set it in on the guitar, glue it to the top and the back of the guitar, and the orienteering of the growth rings and the grain structure is quarter sawn. That's what this is known as. I'm going to start out. I have 2 that are 10 millimeters high. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in this. Like this. I'm going to tighten it on down. And I have a hand plane. And what we're going to do now is I'm going to flatten this peak. And what I'm doing now is I'm adjusting the blade on this plane so that it's square, and I'm bringing the blade out so that it will cut. It is stored. It was stored with the blade withdrawn so that it doesn't nick anything or get nicked by any kind of surface that might dull the plane blade. And all I'm doing is just flattening this out till I get a 10 millimeter land on the top of this piece of wood. Well, I'll probably go more like 11 millimeter. Give myself a millimeter of leeway. You see what I'm doing? Okay, yeah. Back up a hair. I just backed up because let me even that out a bit. I backed up because the lighter the cut that I take, the easier it is to push this through the wood. And right now, my hand is not kind. And so we're going to check. What do we got? That's pretty close. In actuality, it's a little bit narrower on the end, so I'm going to do that number. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come with a ruler. I'm going to mark 20 millimeters or 2 centimeters. That way. Make a mark. And draw me a line across that. I know you can't see everything that I'm doing, but I'll do the same on this side. So I'll do that. Along here. I'll come along this side. I'm just using my fingers as a guide. You could take a, well, what is it called? You could take a chisel and just split this, but that's not something that I want to do, because I know that if you have grain run out, what can happen is it will, like, instead of following the grain, or instead of going straight, it'll follow the grain, and it might go like this, it might go like that. So I'll use a saw. No wood is perfect, or at least very little wood is perfect anyway. And what I want is to be able to utilize every bit of that wood, this wood. To the best that I can. So I'm gonna actually cut this way so I can see my line that I marked. Now that I've got a curve established here that the saw will follow. The small saw was not cutting it for me. So this is a large rip saw. It's meant to rip along the grain like we're doing here. That saw that I was using, it's filed to rip, but it's got like 15 points per inch, so it's not fairly aggressive. That saw has 8 points. In actuality, with a rip saw, I'd like to have something that has 6 points per inch, but this will work. It works just fine. It has worked. Since I started woodworking, and it will work now. And all right, let's do this now. And the saw will follow the curve that's being cut. As long as I don't push it this way or that way, it will follow that curve. Wondering if it'll split. Yeah, it will. See how? Because I had it along the grain line, along the quarter, that little piece just split. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna square this off now. Like that. I'm going to do the same thing on this end, assuming that I can. Have to excuse if my head's in the way. I needed to make that. And then we're going to cut using this guide, this edge guide. We're going to cut that out. That eats this poor hand up. But that's all right. That split right along the grain. That's nice. It means that this wood is really, I can just go like this. It's really well quartered. I want 19 millimeters wide. What do I have here? By how many? 10 millimeters tall. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to flatten that. What is that? Yeah. By 19 millimeters tall. So we want 10 millimeters wide. Flatten that out. All right. This is a back brace. So let's do this. What I'm doing is I have my width roughly. It's like 23, so I can take it down to 19, but I want first to bring it to 10. Right now that's at 12.6 and this is at 12.6, somewhere thereabouts. So I want to square it off, so what I'm doing, I'm putting the plane all the way over so that, just if you notice, the blade does not go all the way to the edge. And so what I'm doing is I'm pushing the plane over so that it cuts just this side, because I want to square this off. That's square, and I'm just doing it visually. I don't need it to be perfectly square. I just need it to be, I guess you'd call it, satisfactorily square. Something like that. So let me make sure that one end is not too much thinner, and this end is a bit thinner. So let me look. So I need to stop right about there. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to put this in this vise, because I need the thickness to be fairly even. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come along this. When I reach that mark, I'm going to lift the plane up off of the wood. Off me. And we're going to see what that does. That's yeah. All right, now we can go full length. And we actually, I want to flip that around. And if I want to, and what I might do at some point is bring a flat piece of wood out, because this is not completely flat because it's out in the weather. A flat piece of plywood, and take a few pieces of double stick tape and glue it to that so that I can thin this. Or I could use, and actually what I'm going to do, stand by. This is a planing stop that I designed for this bench. So we're going to do this here. And that way what I can do probably is exactly what I want, thickness-wise. Well, not quite. It needs some more. So yeah, that's what I want. So 10 millimeters wide by, what was it? Or 10 millimeters tall by 19 wide. So let's see. $19mm. I'm just going to mark this and plane to the line. And actually, let's do it like this. All right. So now I have a line, right? So if you look at this, it's thicker on this end than on that end. So what I'm going to do, we're going to play that game where we come along here and lift the plane up till I start seeing that it looks more uniform like it is now. And I want to make sure I'm keeping this brace as straight as I possibly can. So we're gonna looks pretty darn good. Pretty that blame good. And I'm just eyeing this. And when I see this line getting thicker on one end or thicker in the middle or anything like that, I'm gonna concentrate on those areas and bring it in line so that I'm taking material off of this evenly. Not quite 19. Not quite. 19.7. Yeah. Yeah, okay. What I want to do now is I want to, this edge is not quite square. So once again, that's better. And I'm gonna take a very light pass on this bottom plate. I'm gonna back my iron back because all I'm trying to do is clean up this surface. I'm not trying to take anything off of it really. Just want to clean it like that. That's all I want to do. And so this is, see, B3, what I'm going to call that. That's a back brace. And we're gonna, that surface to the back of the guitar because I believe that's the most square. The braces will be shaped up top so they don't have to be super square, but I want that part that glues to the back, the inside of the back to be flat. So that's one. Okay, that's a roughing out of that brace. What I'm going to do, I've got like 8 more braces to do, and then I'll be done. But I wanted to bring you through that process. This is preliminary. I will be putting an arch in it and all kind of stuff later on as we progress in the build. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Share my videos. Bless you.